Prince Harry thought there was still one door left open inside the royal family. But what if that door was never his to knock on in the first place? What if the very person he is now desperately trying to reach is the same person he spent years placing in the middle of royal chaos? Because according to explosive new claims swirling around palace circles, Harry is no longer trying to reach Prince William directly. That battle may already be lost. Instead, he is allegedly turning his attention toward Catherine, Princess of Wales, hoping she can accomplish something he can no longer do himself. And that single move has ignited a fresh wave of outrage behind palace walls. For years, royal watchers believed there was always one person keeping a tiny flicker of hope alive between the feuding brothers. Not King Charles, not palace aides, not senior advisors. Catherine, the woman often described as the peacemaker, the bridge, the calm voice in the middle of family storms. But now, insiders claim that bridge may have collapsed completely, and Harry appears unwilling to accept it. The situation has become so dramatic that sources suggest William's firewall against his brother is now virtually impenetrable. No direct conversations, no return calls, no private meetings, no meaningful communication. The distance between the brothers is no longer measured in miles between California and London. It is measured in years of resentment, accusations, interviews, documentaries, and one memoir that changed everything.
So I'm really annoyed about this. Prince Harry has such a cheek that he is now piling the pressure on Catherine, the Princess of Wales, to step in and try and save his failing relationship with Prince William. Not understanding that it's over, brother. It is gone. Finito. Just accept it. And tried so hard for so long. You threw her efforts back in her face with your continued attacks, not just on William and Camilla, but on Catherine herself. So I think this is going to fail, but it does show just how desperate Prince Harry is. Now, this new reporting has emerged from Dan Wakeford. That is interesting to me because remember, for a long time, we've spoken about this before, he was the editor of People magazine and Us Weekly, which operated as a propagandist, effectively, for Harry and Meghan. These days, he tries to take both sides of the argument. But having spoken to both couples or sources connected to both couples, the big revelation from him is that Prince Harry doesn't even have William's phone number anymore. That is, of course, a mortifying revelation for the Duke of Delusion, especially given Wakeford goes on to say that even if he did, Prince William would not pick up.
And that is where the story becomes almost unbelievable. According to reports, Harry allegedly understands that approaching William directly leads nowhere. Every road appears blocked. Every channel appears closed. So attention has shifted elsewhere, toward Catherine, toward the one person many believe still understands both brothers better than anyone else, toward the woman William trusts most. But here's the uncomfortable question nobody can ignore. Why would Catherine help fix damage that many believe Harry helped create? That question is hanging over every conversation. Because while Harry may see Catherine as the last possible route to reconciliation, others see something entirely different. They see a woman who spent years trying to hold a fractured family together, only to watch public accusations, private disputes, and explosive revelations tear everything apart anyway. The irony is impossible to miss. The very person now being viewed as Harry's potential savior is also someone who became entangled in some of the most controversial royal disputes of recent years. Every headline, every accusation, every public disagreement added another layer to an already damaged relationship. And insiders claim William has never forgotten any of it. Not for a moment. Not when headlines exploded around the world. Not when private conversations became public discussion. Not when family tensions transformed into global entertainment. Those closest to the future king reportedly say one thing remains constant: his protective instinct toward Catherine. That instinct has only intensified over time, which makes Harry's reported strategy even more fascinating, because every request directed toward Catherine automatically passes through William's perspective. Every attempt at reconciliation encounters the same obstacle: trust, and trust, according to palace observers, may be the one thing impossible to restore once broken.
However, what has annoyed me in this reporting is that Dan Wakeford quite clearly puts all of the pressure on Catherine to change this. And it also annoys me because Dan Wakeford doesn't call Catherine, our future queen, by the name that she has asked us respectfully to refer her to. So let me take you through the reporting, you'll see what I mean. He writes, whether any of it can reach William is another question entirely. And the person best placed to answer that question is not a palisade or a diplomatic back channel. It is Kate, a second insider who knows Harry is direct about his consequences. He regrets certain accusations he made because they made mending things with his brother quite literally impossible. Bear exposed enough family betrayals to keep the British press occupied for years. Harry accusing William of physically attacking him during a 2019 argument over Meghan mocking William's hair loss, characterizing their brotherly appearances at William's wedding as a PR exercise. But it is what Harry wrote about Kate that has proved the most enduring damage. Palace source is unambiguous. William was fuming, but was particularly upset about what Harry said about Kate. He is fiercely protective of her and will find it hard to ever get over it and have a proper relationship with his brother again.
What makes this entire situation feel even more dramatic is the timing. Catherine has already been carrying enormous personal responsibilities while managing public expectations, unlike almost anyone else in the world. Yet despite that reality, reports suggest pressure continues building around whether she should somehow become the solution to a problem she never created. That idea alone has triggered intense debate. Should she intervene? Should she stay silent? Should she encourage reconciliation, or should she simply step away and allow the consequences of past decisions to play themselves out? Nobody seems to agree. What everyone does agree on is that William's position appears stronger and more settled than ever before. The future king is no longer viewed as someone waiting for the right moment to repair the relationship. Increasingly, insiders describe a man who has already made his choice and moved forward, and that reality may be the most painful part for Harry to accept. Because if William has truly closed the door, then Catherine may not be standing beside a doorway anymore. She may simply be standing in front of a wall. The deeper this story goes, the more it starts looking less like a reconciliation effort and more like a collision course that nobody can stop. Because while Harry reportedly continues searching for a pathway back into the family, every signal emerging from royal circles suggests the opposite direction of travel. Instead of doors reopening, more appear to be closing. Instead of old wounds healing, they seem to be hardening into permanent scars. And perhaps the most devastating reality for Harry is that the person he allegedly hopes can save the situation may have already reached her limit long ago. For years, Catherine was viewed as the one figure capable of seeing both sides. Even during the darkest periods of the royal feud, there were whispers that she remained sympathetic to the idea of reconciliation. She understood family bonds. She understood the history between the brothers. She understood what was being lost as the relationship deteriorated. But even the strongest patience has a breaking point, and according to growing reports, many inside royal circles believe that point may have already arrived. What makes the situation particularly explosive is the growing perception that Harry wants the outcome without taking the difficult road required to achieve it. Palace observers continue pointing toward one uncomfortable fact. Years have passed since the public fallout erupted, yet the family remains trapped inside the same cycle. New reports emerge, new intermediaries appear, new hopes of reconciliation are floated through sources, yet the core issue never seems to change. Trust, that single word, sits at the center of everything. Without trust, conversations become impossible. Without trust, explanations sound like excuses. Without trust, every attempt at peace feels like another strategy rather than a sincere effort. And many insiders believe William's position now revolves entirely around that principle. Not temporary anger, not emotional reactions, not public pressure. Trust, once broken, perhaps permanently broken. Meanwhile, another anxiety is quietly spreading throughout the monarchy itself, because this feud is no longer viewed as merely a family dispute. It has become a lesson about what happens when private royal conversations become public property. The institution survives on confidentiality. It survives on discretion. It survives on the understanding that certain conversations remain behind palace walls. Yet over recent years, those walls have repeatedly been breached. Every revelation has consequences. Every disclosure creates new suspicion. Every leaked conversation leaves someone wondering whether the next private discussion will eventually become tomorrow's headline. That atmosphere changes everything. It changes relationships. It changes trust. It changes how family members communicate with one another. And perhaps most importantly, it changes how willing people become to forgive. Because forgiveness becomes much harder when uncertainty never leaves the room. Now, Catherine finds herself positioned at the center of a situation she never asked to inherit. On one side stands Harry, family, reportedly hoping that old bonds can still be repaired. On the other side stands William, whose resolve appears stronger than ever, and surrounding them all is an institution dealing with challenges that extend far beyond a single family disagreement. Yet the most striking detail remains unchanged. The burden keeps falling on Catherine. The responsibility keeps falling on Catherine. The expectations keep falling on Catherine. And many royal watchers are beginning to ask why. Why should she be responsible for repairing damage she did not create? Why should she carry the emotional weight of decisions made by others? Why should she become the bridge when others burn the road? Those questions are growing louder. And so far, no convincing answer has emerged. As summer approaches, the royal landscape feels frozen between possibility and finality. Harry appears to be waiting for movement. William appears determined not to provide it. Charles reportedly continues searching for stability inside a family conflict that refuses to disappear. And Catherine remains caught in the middle of a battle she never volunteered to fight. But perhaps the biggest clue lies in what has not happened. No breakthrough, no reunion, no public sign that the divide is narrowing, only silence. And sometimes silence speaks louder than any statement ever could, because in royal history, silence often means a decision has already been made behind closed doors, a decision that does not require explanation, a decision that does not invite negotiation, a decision that simply exists. If that is true, then Harry may be chasing something that no longer exists, not because reconciliation is impossible, but because the people he needs most may no longer believe it is worth pursuing. And if that is where this story truly stands, then the future of the royal family may not be shaped by dramatic confrontations or explosive interviews.